The Grocery Store Inventory. Chapter 1: The Beginning of Inventory. The last customer had left 15 minutes ago. Martin stood by the front entrance of Green Valley Grocery, watching through the glass doors as the final car pulled away from the parking lot. The store had settled into a comfortable silence, free from the usual chatter of shoppers and beeping of checkout scanners. He turned the deadbolt on the main doors, securing the entrance for the night. The small metal click echoed softly in the empty foyer. Tonight was inventory night, a task that came around once every 3 months. The store manager had entrusted Martin with this responsibility for the past 2 years. Martin moved away from the entrance and walked toward the staff room located at the back of the store. His footsteps made gentle tapping sounds against the clean linoleum floor. The overhead lights hummed steadily, casting an even, fluorescent glow across the aisles. He passed by the produce section, where apples and oranges sat in neat displays, waiting to be counted. In the staff room, Martin retrieved his clipboard from his locker and collected the store tablet from its charging station. The device would be his primary tool for recording all the inventory numbers throughout the night. He returned to the main floor carrying a small basket containing his supplies, the tablet, a mechanical pencil with extra lead, a small flashlight for checking darker corners of shelving units, and a water bottle to keep hydrated during the hours ahead. Martin placed the basket on the customer service counter and powered on the tablet. The inventory application opened with a soft chime, displaying a floor plan of the entire store divided into numbered sections. Each section contained dozens of items waiting to be counted. Martin decided to set up a small workspace at the customer service desk. He arranged his supplies neatly on the counter and adjusted the nearby stool to a comfortable height. Taking a sip of water, he studied the inventory checklist that would guide his methodical journey through the store. The tablet screen illuminated his face as he scrolled through the digital forms. According to the schedule, he had approximately 6 hours to complete the entire store count. It was currently 9:17 p.m. If all went according to plan, he would finish around 3 a.m. Before beginning the official count, Martin needed to prepare the store. He walked down each aisle, straightening products that had been shifted during the day's shopping traffic. Boxes of cereal were aligned with their labels facing forward. Jars of pasta sauce were arranged in tidy rows. Bags of rice and beans sat evenly spaced on their shelves. This preparation would make the counting process smoother and more accurate. As he straightened each shelf, he took note of areas that might require extra attention during the inventory, places where smaller items could be easily overlooked or miscounted. The air conditioning system cycled on with a soft whoosh, maintaining the store's pleasant temperature. Martin could feel the gentle current of cool air as he continued his preparatory walkthrough. The bakery section still carried the faint scent of fresh bread from earlier in the day. Near the deli counter, the cases had been emptied and cleaned, ready for tomorrow's fresh selections. He paused at the end of aisle 7 to adjust his shoelace, then continued toward the storage room to collect a step ladder for reaching higher shelves. The ladder was lightweight aluminum, easy to carry throughout the store as needed. Martin positioned it initially at the beginning of aisle 1, where the canned goods section would be his first counting area. He returned to the customer service desk, picked up the tablet, and navigated to the inventory application starting point. The screen displayed Section 1, Canned Vegetables, as his first category. With a deep breath, Martin tapped the Begin Inventory button. The time was now 9:43 p.m. The quiet store awaited his methodical attention as he approached the first shelf of neatly aligned canned peas, corn, and green beans. Chapter 2: The Canned Goods Aisle. Martin stood at the beginning of aisle 1, tablet in hand, as he faced the long shelves of canned goods stretching before him. The inventory application displayed the first category, canned vegetables. He adjusted his stance slightly, settling into a comfortable position for the counting process that would occupy the next hour or so. The store was completely quiet except for the steady hum of the refrigeration units and the occasional click from the building's heating system adjusting to the cool night outside. He began with the canned peas on the top shelf. The green cans were arranged in neat rows, their labels all facing forward after his earlier straightening efforts. Martin counted methodically from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, continuing until he reached 17 cans of sweet peas in the standard size. He tapped the tablet screen, entering 17 in the corresponding field. Below these were the organic sweet peas in slightly smaller cans with premium labels. These totaled 12. Next came the low-sodium peas, distinguished by their light blue label accents, of which there were 14 cans. Martin recorded each number carefully on the tablet, double-checking before moving to the next product. The middle shelf contained various types of canned corn. The cream-style corn came first, in golden-labeled cans, 23 of them lined up precisely. The whole kernel corn followed with 28 cans, then the fire-roasted corn with its slightly darker packaging, numbering only 15. Martin noticed a small gap in the corn section and consulted the inventory list to confirm what belonged there. According to the system, the organic corn was running low with just 9 cans remaining. He verified this count, noting that they would need to reorder soon. Moving downward, Martin encountered the section dedicated to green beans. The cut green beans occupied the left side, with 26 cans present. The French-style green beans were next with 19 cans, their distinctive elongated shapes visible in the package images. The low-sodium versions of both varieties followed, with 13 and 11 cans respectively. At the end of the green bean section were 6 cans of organic green beans, their premium price point typically resulting in lower stock levels. Martin methodically entered each count, occasionally picking up a can to check if any had been pushed to the back of the shelf out of easy view. After completing the bean varieties, Martin moved on to other vegetables. The canned carrots showed 18 units, the sliced beets 15, and the whole kernel corn with peppers just 7 cans. Mixed vegetables occupied a larger section with 34 cans in various sizes. He noticed that one can of mixed vegetables had a slightly dented rim, not severe enough to compromise the seal but noticeable enough that he made a small note in the comment section of the inventory app to move it to the discount shelf in the morning. As Martin continued down the aisle, he reached the tomato products section. The diced tomatoes were well stocked with 42 cans across various styles, regular, with green chilies, with basil and garlic, fire-roasted, and no salt added. The tomato paste came in smaller cans, stacked in double rows, totaling 58 units. Tomato sauce occupied nearly an entire shelf section with multiple sizes and flavors. Martin counted each variety separately: 27 large cans of regular sauce, 31 medium cans, 19 cans of garlic and herb, 14 of basil and oregano, and 22 of the meat-flavored variety. The rhythm of counting had become steady and soothing. Martin would look at a section, count the cans from left to right, enter the number, and move to the next product. Occasionally he would pull forward a can that had been pushed slightly back from the shelf edge, realigning it with its neighbors. The soft tapping of his finger on the tablet screen punctuated the silence at regular intervals. When he finished the tomato section, he took a small sip of water from his bottle and rolled his shoulders gently to maintain comfort during the repetitive task. The remaining canned goods included various beans, kidney, black, pinto, garbanzo, followed by canned fruits like peaches, pears, and pineapple. Each category required the same methodical approach. Count, enter, move on. Count, enter, move on. The tablet screen glowed softly in the well-lit aisle as Martin steadily worked his way through the inventory list. He had completed nearly half of aisle 1 when the store's cooling system cycled on again, creating a gentle background white noise that blended with the ambient silence. Chapter 3: The Dairy Section. After completing the canned goods inventory, Martin made his way toward the back of the store where the dairy section awaited his attention. The gentle hum of refrigeration units grew louder as he approached the long wall of glass-doored coolers. A soft, cool mist escaped momentarily when he pulled open the first door. The dairy section maintained a constant temperature of 38 degrees, ideal for preserving the freshness of milk, yogurt, and other perishable items. Martin's tablet screen illuminated with the dairy inventory form as he tapped to the appropriate section. The milk occupied the first set of coolers, arranged by fat content and container size. Martin began with the whole milk gallons, their red caps distinguishing them from the others. He counted methodically from left to right, noting 17 gallons in total. Next came the 2% milk with light blue caps, totaling 23 gallons. The 1% followed with yellow caps, numbering 16 containers. Finally, the skim milk with dark blue caps had 14 gallons remaining. Martin entered each figure into the tablet, pausing briefly between entries to ensure accuracy. The half-gallon containers followed the same organizational pattern, with 12 whole milk, 18 2%, 14 1%, and 10 skim. Martin noticed a small droplet of condensation forming on one of the whole milk containers, gently wiping it away with his sleeve before continuing. The specialty milks occupied the adjacent cooler door. The lactose-free varieties lined the top shelf with 9 containers. Below that, the organic milk selection offered 6 whole milk and 8 reduced fat options. The plant-based alternatives took up the remaining shelves, with 12 almond milk cartons, 9 soy milk containers, 7 oat milk options, and 5 coconut milk beverages. Martin carefully recorded each count, occasionally adjusting a carton that had been pushed slightly out of alignment. The cool air from the open refrigerator door created a gentle breeze against his face as he worked. Moving to the next cooler, Martin encountered the cream and butter section. Heavy whipping cream showed a count of 11 cartons, while half and half had 16 containers. The various stick butter packages totaled 27 units, with an additional 14 tubs of spreadable butter. Margarine occupied its own small section with 11 containers. Each item required a separate entry in the inventory system, and Martin maintained his steady pace through the process. The bright fluorescent lights reflected off the white dairy cases, creating a clean, sterile atmosphere in this section of the store. The yogurt display came next, with its colorful array of packaging and flavors. Martin approached this section methodically, working shelf by shelf. The plain yogurt in large containers occupied the top row with 8 containers. Greek yogurt followed with 23 individual cups in various flavors. The fruit on the bottom variety showed 31 cups across different fruit options. Children's yogurt tubes filled a separate shelf with 42 individual tubes in their colorful cardboard boxes. The probiotic drinks and kefir products completed the yogurt section with 13 bottles of varying sizes. As Martin recorded these numbers, he noticed an expiration date on one yogurt package that was approaching in 2 days. He made a small note in the inventory system to ensure this product would be moved to the quick sales section in the morning. The cheese selection occupied the final set of coolers in the dairy department. Sliced cheeses came first, with 18 packages of American, 15 of Swiss, 12 of provolone, and 19 of cheddar. The shredded cheese selection followed with 27 bags across various types and blends. Block cheeses showed a count of 34 units in different varieties and sizes. Specialty and imported cheeses filled their own dedicated area with 42 distinct products. The cream cheese display finished the section with 16 regular blocks, 7 whipped varieties, and 11 flavored options. Martin carefully recorded each count, closing each cooler door gently after completing its inventory. The refrigeration system cycled on with a subtle mechanical sound as Martin finished the dairy section inventory. Small beads of condensation had formed on some of the glass doors, creating delicate patterns that caught the light. The coolers hummed steadily, maintaining their precise temperature to preserve the freshness of their contents. Martin took a small sip of water from his bottle before reviewing the dairy inventory totals on his tablet. The numbers appeared consistent with typical stock levels for a Tuesday night. He made one final adjustment to a carton of eggs that had been left slightly askew, then closed the final cooler door with a soft thump. The dairy section now stood perfectly organized, its contents counted and recorded, as Martin prepared to move on to the next area of the store. Chapter 4: The Frozen Foods. Martin continued his inventory journey, moving from the dairy section to the adjacent frozen foods department. The temperature noticeably dropped as he approached the long row of glass-fronted freezer cases. His tablet displayed the frozen foods inventory page as he tapped to access the appropriate section. The overhead lights reflected softly on the frosted glass doors, creating a gentle, diffused glow throughout this part of the store. Martin could hear the steady, low hum of the freezer compressors working to maintain the optimal temperature of 0 degrees. He began with the frozen vegetable section, pulling open the first door which released a soft whoosh of cold air. His breath became momentarily visible in the chill. The door closed with a gentle thud and magnetic seal. The frozen peas showed a count of 22 bags in various sizes. The corn followed with 19 packages, and the mixed vegetables totaled 27 bags. Martin methodically counted the broccoli florets, finding 16 bags, then moved on to the green beans with 14 packages. Each variety required its own entry in the inventory system, and Martin dutifully recorded each figure before moving to the next product. A light layer of frost had accumulated on some of the packages, slightly obscuring the colorful images of fresh vegetables printed on the front. The next freezer door contained the frozen breakfast items. Waffles came in 6 different varieties with a total of 31 boxes. The pancakes showed 17 packages, while the breakfast sandwiches numbered 23 units. French toast sticks filled out the section with 12 boxes remaining. As Martin slid the door closed, the rubber seal compressed with a soft sound, and the air inside gradually stilled. The cold glass immediately began to fog slightly from the contrast with the warmer store air. Martin wiped a small circle clear with his sleeve before moving to the next section, leaving behind a temporary window that would soon frost over again. The frozen pizza section occupied 2 full freezer doors. Martin organized his count by brand and style. The rising crust variety showed 34 pizzas across various toppings. The thin crust pizzas numbered 29 boxes. The specialty gourmet options had a smaller inventory with just 15 units. Small personal pizzas filled the bottom shelf with 42 individual packages. Pizza rolls and bites occupied their own section with 37 bags in different sizes and flavors. Martin carefully slid some boxes forward that had been pushed back from the freezer edge, ensuring an accurate count. The sound of the freezer door opening and closing created a rhythmic pattern to his work, the soft click of the handle, the whoosh of cold air, and the thump of the magnetic seal reconnecting. Moving along the freezer section, Martin encountered the frozen desserts and ice cream. The inventory system categorized these by type and size. The premium ice cream in pint containers showed 45 units across various flavors. The family-size ice cream tubs numbered 33 containers. Novelty ice cream bars and sandwiches occupied their own shelf with 56 individual boxes. The popsicles and fruit bars added another 39 packages to the count. As Martin recorded these numbers, he noticed a small buildup of ice crystals along the edge of one freezer door, evidence of the constant battle between cold air inside and warmer air outside. The glass felt cool and smooth beneath his fingertips as he gently closed each door after completing its inventory. The final freezer section contained frozen meals and entrees. The single-serve dinners occupied 2 full shelves with 67 varieties. Family-size entrees showed a count of 29 packages. Frozen pasta meals added another 34 containers to the inventory. Ethnic cuisine options rounded out the section with 43 packages spanning Mexican, Italian, and Asian varieties. Martin moved methodically down the line, opening each door just long enough to count accurately, then sealing it again to preserve the cold. The frost patterns on the packages created subtle, crystalline textures that caught the light as he shifted items to verify counts. As Martin completed the frozen foods inventory, he took a moment to review the figures on his tablet. The numbers aligned with expected stock levels for midweek. The freezer compressors cycled on with a gentle mechanical sound, maintaining the precise temperature needed to keep everything properly frozen. A thin layer of condensation had formed on some of the doors he had opened earlier, already beginning to freeze into delicate patterns along the edges. Martin adjusted his clipboard, took a small sip of water that felt surprisingly warm compared to the freezer air he had been breathing, and prepared to move on to the next section of the store. The frozen department now stood properly inventoried, each item counted and recorded in the system. Chapter 5: The Snack Shelves. After finishing the frozen food section, Martin made his way toward aisle 7 where the snack foods were located. The bright, colorful packaging of chips and crackers created a visual contrast to the more subdued frozen section he had just completed. He navigated to the snacks section on his tablet inventory app as he positioned himself at the beginning of the aisle. The overhead lights illuminated the neatly arranged shelves, highlighting the various hues of red, blue, yellow, and green packaging designed to catch shoppers' attention. Martin began his methodical counting process, working from top shelf to bottom, left to right, just as he had done in previous sections. The potato chips occupied the first segment of shelving. The classic variety showed 28 bags in various sizes. The rich chips totaled 23 packages, while the kettle-cooked style had 19 bags remaining. The flavored options were more numerous, with 34 bags spanning barbecue, sour cream and onion, salt and vinegar, and other popular varieties. The reduced fat and baked alternatives occupied their own section with 17 bags. Martin carefully recorded each count in the inventory system, occasionally adjusting a bag that was slightly out of alignment with its neighbors. The metallic packaging created a soft crinkling sound when touched, barely audible in the quiet store. Moving to the next section, Martin encountered the tortilla chips and corn-based snacks. The plain tortilla chips showed a count of 22 bags. The flavored varieties, including nacho cheese, spicy, and lime seasoned, totaled 31 packages. The corn chips added another 18 bags to the inventory. Martin noticed a gap in the shelf where the blue corn tortilla chips should have been. Looking at the inventory app, he could see they were supposed to have 14 bags in stock. He knelt down and peered behind the shelf, spotting a fallen bag that had slipped into the narrow space between the shelving unit and the back wall. Using a yardstick that was kept nearby for such occurrences, he carefully retrieved the wayward snack bag, dusted it off gently, and placed it back in its proper location. He then adjusted the count in the system to reflect the recovered item. The cracker section followed, with an array of shapes, flavors, and brands neatly arranged across 3 shelves. The sandwich crackers with cheese filling showed 36 packages. The buttery round crackers totaled 27 boxes. The whole grain varieties had a smaller stock with just 15 containers. Various specialty crackers, including those with seeds, herbs, and different grains, added 42 more packages to the count. The snack pack varieties with individual servings came in at 39 boxes. Martin methodically counted each type, entering the figures into his tablet with practiced efficiency. The uniform rows of boxes created a pleasing pattern of order across the shelves, occasionally interrupted by a slightly misaligned package that Martin would straighten as he worked. Next came the section dedicated to popcorn and pretzels. The microwave popcorn boxes numbered 24, with various options for butter, light, and specialty flavors. The ready-to-eat popcorn bags showed a count of 17. The pretzel varieties, including sticks, twists, and rods, totaled 29 packages. The flavored specialty pretzels added another 16 bags to the inventory. As Martin recorded these numbers, he noticed that one of the pretzel bags had a small tear in the upper corner. He made a note in the inventory system to move this item to the discount section in the morning. The final portion of the snack aisle contained the trail mixes, nuts, and dried fruits. The mixed nuts in various containers showed a count of 31. The peanut-only options totaled 22 packages. The trail mixes with chocolate pieces and dried fruits numbered 27 bags. The specialty health mixes, containing various seeds and exotic dried fruits, added 19 more packages to the count. The dried fruit selection completed the section with 24 containers spanning different fruit varieties. The plastic containers and resealable bags in this section created a more uniform appearance than the chip bags, with clear windows showing the contents inside. As Martin completed the snack aisle inventory, he took a moment to check his progress on the tablet. The digital clock in the corner of the screen showed 12:47 a.m. He was maintaining a steady pace through the store. The snack aisle, with its bright packaging now fully counted and organized, stood in orderly rows under the fluorescent lighting. Martin noticed a few crumbs on the floor beneath the cracker section, evidence of a package that had been opened by a customer earlier in the day. He made a mental note to mention this to the morning cleaning crew. With the snack inventory complete, he took a small sip of water from his bottle, adjusted his posture to relieve the slight stiffness from bending to count lower shelves, and prepared to move on to the next department. Chapter 6: The Cleaning Supplies. Martin made his way to aisle 12 where the cleaning supplies were located. This section occupied the far end of the store, away from the food products. The overhead fluorescent lights reflected off the many plastic bottles and containers, creating a subtle sheen across the shelving. Martin navigated to the cleaning supplies section on his tablet inventory app as he positioned himself at the beginning of the aisle. A faint mixture of fragrances hung in the air: lemon, pine, and floral scents that had gradually escaped from the sealed products over time, blending together into what most people associated with cleanliness. He began with the laundry detergents, which occupied the first segment of the aisle. The liquid detergent bottles were arranged by brand and size on the top two shelves. The standard formula showed 24 bottles in various sizes. The sensitive skin varieties totaled 17 containers. The concentrated formulas added another 19 bottles to the count. The powder detergents occupied their own section with 14 boxes of various brands. The single-dose detergent pods, sealed in their plastic tubs, numbered 22 containers. Martin methodically recorded each figure in the inventory system, occasionally shifting a bottle that had been turned so its label wasn't facing forward. The plastic bottles made soft sounds as they touched one another, barely audible in the quiet store. The fabric softeners and dryer sheets came next, arranged on the middle shelves. The liquid softeners showed a count of 16 bottles across different scents and formulas. The dryer sheet boxes totaled 21, with various fragrance options available. The wool dryer balls and other eco-friendly alternatives added 7 more packages to the inventory. Martin noticed that one of the fabric softener bottles had a slightly crooked label, applied just a fraction of an inch off-center at the manufacturing plant. It was a minor imperfection that most shoppers would never notice, but it caught his attention during the careful counting process. He straightened a box of dryer sheets that had been pushed slightly back from the shelf edge, realigning it with its neighbors. Moving further down the aisle, Martin encountered the dish cleaning section. The liquid dish soaps numbered 26 bottles in various scents and formulations. The automatic dishwasher detergents, including gels, powders, and pods, totaled 31 containers. The rinse aids and dishwasher cleaning products added another 14 bottles to the count. As Martin tallied these items, he detected the distinctive citrus scent that characterized many dish cleaning products. The bright yellow and green packaging in this section created a visual pattern that contrasted with the blues and whites of the laundry products he had just finished counting. The all-purpose cleaners occupied the next segment of shelving. The spray bottles of various cleaning solutions showed a count of 38 across different brands and formulations. The concentrated cleaners that required dilution numbered 16 bottles. The specialty surface cleaners, designed for materials like stainless steel, wood, or glass, added 23 more containers to the inventory. Martin carefully recorded each figure, noting that the store was running low on the popular lemon-scented all-purpose cleaner with just 4 bottles remaining. The distinct smell of ammonia from the glass cleaners subtly registered as he counted, mixed with the artificial pine scent from the floor cleaning products nearby. The final section contained specialty cleaning items for bathrooms and difficult cleaning tasks. The toilet bowl cleaners numbered 17 bottles with their distinctively shaped necks designed to reach under the rim. The shower and tub cleaners totaled 22 spray bottles. The tile and grout cleaners added another 13 containers to the count. Various brushes, sponges, and other non-liquid cleaning tools occupied the lowest shelf with 46 different items spanning various shapes and purposes. Martin noticed that one bathroom cleaner bottle had been placed in the wrong location, having been inadvertently shelved with the shower cleaners instead of the toilet bowl products. He carefully relocated it to its proper place, maintaining the orderly arrangement of the shelves. As Martin completed the cleaning supplies inventory, he took a moment to verify his counts on the tablet. The digital clock showed 1:36 a.m. The clean, chemical scents of the aisle had subtly permeated his clothing during the time spent counting. He had become so accustomed to the mixed fragrances that he barely noticed them anymore. The brightly colored bottles stood in neat, orderly rows, their labels facing forward, their caps tightly secured. Martin adjusted a spray bottle that was turned slightly askew, aligning it perfectly with its neighbors. The cleaning aisle reflected the same meticulous order that Martin brought to the inventory process itself, each item in its place, counted, recorded, and properly arranged. He took a small sip of water from his bottle, cleared his throat softly in the quiet store, and prepared to move on to the final sections of his inventory task. Chapter 7: Closing the Inventory. Martin had reached the final stages of his inventory task. The digital clock on his tablet displayed 2:47 a.m. as he completed counting the last section of the store. The building had remained perfectly quiet throughout the night, with only the steady hum of refrigeration units and occasional clicks from the heating system to accompany his methodical work. He made his way back to the customer service desk where he had initially set up his workstation hours earlier. His water bottle was now nearly empty, and his steps were measured and unhurried as he crossed the polished floor of the silent grocery store. At the desk, Martin placed his tablet down and accessed the inventory summary screen. The system displayed a comprehensive overview of all the categories he had counted throughout the night. Column after column of numbers represented the thousands of items that lined the store's shelves, coolers, and freezers. He scrolled through the digital pages, reviewing the figures with careful attention. The produce section showed expected levels for midweek. The dairy products aligned with typical stock patterns. The frozen foods, snacks, and cleaning supplies all displayed numbers that matched seasonal norms. Martin entered a few final notes about items that would need attention in the morning: the dented can of mixed vegetables, the yogurt approaching its expiration date, the torn pretzel bag, and the low stock of lemon-scented cleaner. The inventory application provided a final summary report showing the total value of merchandise currently in the store. Martin reviewed these figures, comparing them to the previous inventory from 3 months ago. The numbers showed a normal pattern of stock fluctuation, with no significant discrepancies that would require further investigation. He tapped the "Complete Inventory" button on the screen, which prompted a confirmation dialog. After selecting "Confirm," the system began generating the final report that would be automatically emailed to the store manager. A small progress bar moved steadily across the screen as the data was processed and transmitted to the central system. Martin watched as it reached completion, followed by a simple message indicating successful submission. With the inventory officially completed, Martin began the process of closing down his workstation. He collected his mechanical pencil and placed it back in his small supply basket. The flashlight he had used for checking darker corners of shelving units went next to the pencil. He finished the last sip of water from his bottle and placed the empty container in the basket as well. The tablet needed to be returned to its charging station in the staff room. Martin carefully disconnected it from the portable charger he had been using and powered it down. The screen dimmed gradually until it went completely dark. He gathered the tablet and his supply basket and made his way to the back of the store. In the staff room, Martin placed the tablet in its designated charging dock. A small red light indicated that it was connecting to power, then changed to amber as charging began. He returned his personal items to his locker, his light jacket, car keys, and the now empty lunch container from the meal he had eaten before starting inventory. The clipboard he had occasionally used went back to its hook on the wall. Martin checked the small analog clock on the staff room wall, which showed 3:06 a.m. He had completed the inventory process slightly ahead of schedule, maintaining an efficient pace throughout the night. The schedule posted on the bulletin board indicated that the morning crew would arrive at 5:30 a.m. to begin preparing the store for its 7 a.m. opening. Martin returned to the main floor to perform a final walkthrough before leaving. He followed the same path he had taken at the beginning of the night, ensuring that all items were in their proper places and all equipment had been returned to storage. The step ladder he had used for reaching higher shelves was now back in the storage room. The yardstick he had used to retrieve the fallen snack bag was in its holder near the customer service desk. The store's regular lighting had remained on during his inventory work, but now he needed to switch to the security lighting for the overnight hours. At the main lighting panel near the manager's office, he pressed the button labeled Night Mode. Throughout the store, most of the overhead lights dimmed or turned off completely, leaving only the security lights and emergency exit signs illuminated. The store took on a more subdued appearance, with gentle pools of light amid deeper shadows. At the front entrance, Martin entered his employee code into the security panel to indicate he was leaving the building. The system acknowledged his input with a soft beep and displayed "Armed" on its small screen. He had 15 seconds to exit before the motion detectors would activate. Martin pushed open the front door, stepped outside into the cool night air, and pulled the door firmly closed behind him. He heard the click of the automatic locking mechanism engaging. The parking lot was empty except for his own vehicle parked under a light post near the side of the building. The night was quiet, with only distant traffic sounds occasionally breaking the silence. Martin walked to his car at an unhurried pace, his footsteps making soft sounds on the asphalt. The inventory was complete, the numbers were submitted, and the store stood dark and secure behind him as he prepared to drive home through the peaceful, early morning hours.